So I was told that I need to stop singing in my intros because apparently I can get copyrighted, and I didn't know that. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Prairie Avenue. My name is Lonzo Rivera, and it's currently August 28th of 2024, 10 o'clock at night. I couldn't have done this any more last minute. But episode 26, and it feels good to finally be back. I think a lot of crazy questions from the people that are interested. Where we're like kind of what happened, dude? And I'm like, honestly, full transparency, I didn't make as much time for this podcast as I thought I would. Um, starting back in the summer, and two, my computer was low key shit. Excuse the language, but it was not good. I don't know if it was my drivers. I updated, rolled, I did so many different things to my entire computer. It just turned out to be the fact that my girlfriend downloaded an Adobe software back last semester for college, and it kind of took a lot of space. If 60 gigs is that's a lot of freaking space. So, anyways, deleted it, got it off, cleared out a bunch of space, old videos, moved stuff to a physical hard drive, and now we're back. And it feels good because my computer's just running perfectly smooth as it should. But it feels good to be back. We're off and rolling, and it sucks because I feel like I wanted to do like a whole preseason episode. I wanted to for the NFL, of course. That's what we're gonna be talking about today. But that's really what I wanted to do. It was like, okay, I really want to do a whole preseason app for both the Chargers and the Rams. And now we're crunch on time because we are 2 weeks away from opening kickoff, and now we are kind of scrambling here at LR Sports Media, which is kind of cool to like actually say out loud. Uh, like we kind of made it. If you haven't checked out like our Instagram or our socials, please do. LR Sports Media. That's going to be the official name. It was kind of hard to do LR Media. Kind of existed all over the place. Shout out to LR Media, whoever was the guy who like actually he does like wedding photos or something. Shout out to that guy. But point is, it was kind of hard. LR Sports Media wasn't taken. Decided to name it that. Prairie Avenue goes under LR Sports Media in a separate division. So it's kind of cool to like finally have it all going and working out. So, but point is, we're back and better than ever. Website should be rolling up. So if you are watching or listening to this on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, thank you so much. But website is up. All the link trees are on. It's on social media. Everything's finally going, and we're getting a lot of motion on TikTok. So that feels kind of nice. All my followers on Instagram are a lot of them are just friends, and some people that actually did follow, which I do appreciate. But on TikTok, it's purely just people who are genuinely interested in what I'm trying to do. But anyways, regardless, I appreciate all the support. It's amazing. I have to stop hitting these damn earbuds on my head. But that's where we're at right now. It's going. We're trying to just expand my portfolio as much as I possibly can, even if like a future employer watches this video or not. I really appreciate it. But hey, we're just trying to do as much as we possibly can. If you are looking out to help, feel free to reach out. I'm always gonna take any kind of help. But we already went through three and a half, oh shoot, almost 4 minutes of just nonstop rambling. But it feels good. Point is, we're in a really good spot and we're really excited. So let's just go ahead and get going with new avenues. And I wish I had a sound effect, and I think I'm gonna make one, but this is what I always say every video. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. I don't freaking do it. Point is, we're gonna be talking about the Los Angeles Rams, my team. You can see it on the YouTube side, and right behind me I have Aaron Donald and the Rams towel. But I'm really excited for this freaking season. There's a lot of questions, okay? Because I think we already had like this preview episode, and we don't need to go down that route again because it's too long. We fall down, and we just want to focus on what really happened in the first 3 weeks of preseason. Is there anything that kind of went crazy? And really, the only thing you really need to know is Stetson Bennett had an amazing game number two, and we skipped game number one because it was absolutely horrible. Shout out to Pearl for giving me tickets to game number one against the Cowboys. It was atrocious. And I'm always trying to look at the positive side. I'm never trying to be that person who's like, oh, dude, like you suck. Like, why are you such a like? I don't want to be a negative Nancy. All right, but when you look at the videos and you watch the highlights, and if you just watch like a full game review of what the heck actually happened, it was it was rough. Like it wasn't clean at all. His reads, his progress, like he wasn't going through his progressions. His reads were horrible, and really the only reason why he even made it through alive was because of Jordan Whittington, which is someone who made the roster, which we'll get into a little bit later. And this is why this video can get a little long, but he had a horrible game number one. We pull away. Has a clutch only touchdown he threw the entire game. He threw 5 picks. Could have been 6 or 7, something like that. Like the stat was crazy to give away the ball that many times. Uh, Throws a game-winning touchdown. We win. It was cool. It was epic to be there live. Really happy to see them Cowboy fans leaving. But we oh dang hiccup there. Oh god, I just had a ham sandwich. um, but yeah, like it was okay. Game number two had a better showing against the Chargers. Um, Still just ended up just whatever with that game. Of course, these preseason matches don't matter. And against the Texans, it was really dress for win. So that was really nice to see him just to get some playing time finally. But he looked way more in command than Stetson Bennett, in my own personal opinion. But, at the end of the day, Stetson Bennett, a higher draft value. It's also someone who won the national championship in college twice. Um, but yeah, so we'll go ahead and get into that. That's all that's really happened that you need to know. Jordan Whittington had an outstanding showing. Tyler Davis, also defensive tackle from Clemson, had a great showing. We'll continue on, like I said, in the future when we actually have to talk about these players in the roster review, and it'll be kind of quick, whoever I want to highlight. But uh, main issue here, because this is what should be in bold, and I wish I could really scream at you, and it's the fact that Ernest Jones was just traded away to the Tennessee Titans for practically a pick swap in the 2025 NFL draft. All we did was move up one round, and it kind of sucked, to be honest with you. So let's break down the situation, okay? Last year, and if you don't know Ernest Jones, you gotta love Ernest Jones. He was an amazing linebacker for us last year. Has his rookie year was our Super Bowl winning year, where he also made amazing plays in the Super Bowl, clutch tackles. So like this guy, as out of his rookie year, was productive and made an impact right out of South Carolina. Has an amazing 2 more years, improves yearly. Last year broke the Rams single season record for most tackles in a season. Broke the record. Everyone was like, "Dude, we gotta sign this guy." Aaron Donald's gone. We're gonna. I know right now we're eating the dead cap, but hey, once we have that kind of space, I think we should try and pay Ernest Jones. Ernest Jones isn't necessarily like an amazing linebacker, but seeing what a lot of other, I would say, QB pressure going in for blitz linebacker is worth right now, it's pretty high. So it was kind of like in this question where last year he has his amazing record breaking season. The fans love him. He was named the captain last year. There, of course, there's like 5 different captains, but he was one of the captains on the squad. He was supposed to be another captain this year of the defense, but here we go. He wants an extension in the offseason, supposedly, and the contract talks didn't go well. Oh well. Then fast forward, we go through camp, we go through preseason training. Now we're in full practice mode, and Ernest Jones is still showing up like, I'm good. Let's play it through my season. And it just came out just a few days ago that supposedly Ernest Jones and his team wanted a trade, and the Rams were okay with letting him seek a trade. And everyone's like, okay, well, I guess Ernest Jones really wants to go for this trade. So at the time, most people, especially including me, because we're just following these reports and follow along here. Ernest Jones says, I want the trade, and his agents. Rams are like, go ahead, try to find a trade, and we'll see what we can do for your value. All right. Hours later, Ernest Jones tweets, hey, I never requested a trade, practically with the shrugging emoji. And everyone's like, so he didn't request a trade. Now, go through another day. He's not at camp or practice, really. It's not camp, but he's not at practice. Everyone's like, oh, So this is serious. He's gonna might have a holdout like Hassan Reddick of the I'm blanking of the Jets right now, where they're not going to practice until they get this new contract deal. So everyone's like, okay, well now he's gonna have a holdout, and boop boop, it's been official. Rams trade him to the Tennessee Titans. I look at my phone. I look at what we're trading him for, and honestly, I was just like, are you effing, are you fudging kidding me? Like this is not at all what his value in my own opinion. You could argue he's a top 10 linebacker. I don't think he breaks like the top five. It's honestly like 8, 9, or 10, just depending on whatever analyst you hear. Just production wise, but still, he's probably one of the best like pressure blitz linebackers, middle linebackers in the league. But overall, middle linebacker, he's not all the way up there, top five. I think but you could squeeze him into 9 or 10. Point is, that's still pretty damn good. That's someone that, regardless of, he goes to Tennessee Titans, that's your guy. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily like you're gonna say like, oh, he's not even that great, anyways. No, 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 no. He could go to the Baltimore Ravens and he's gonna be competing for a starting spot. You know what I mean? Like this isn't someone who you just shrug off. This is an actual middle linebacker that for any competing team that have playoff, aspirations, Ernest Jones can be your guy. Now, we trade him away to Tennessee. We also send a 6th-round pick for 2026, and in return, all we get is a 5th-round pick for 2025. And I know most people were saying he's not worth more than a 4th-rounder, but for me, in my opinion, I was like, okay, then give us a 4th-rounder. If it was a 4th-rounder, maybe another one like a 6th or 7th rounder, I'd be like, all right, cool, more picks for us to play with. But no, we literally gave away a pick and Ernest Jones just to move up around in this upcoming draft. To me, it was just a little questionable, and I was obviously angry. I had to take a step back because I can't just emotionally want to tweet about this because I'm freaking out. Like, why are we doing this? And I'm like, all right, you know what? Let's just sit on it. Let's think about why they would have done this. And the only conclusion I came up with was, dang, he must have really been on top of him. Like, I need this extension now. If I don't get this now, like it's never gonna work between us or something. Like there must have been some other off the field drama that we're hearing about, like that we're not hearing about. That there's complications in the locker room. Like something must have been going wrong in order for Ernest Jones to just be traded away for, quite honestly, nothing. And to me, I was a little surprised because I also thought, maybe the Rams were a little bit smarter. It For me, in my personal opinion, I was like, why don't you just wait? This is his final year of his contract. It's a bigger incentive for Ernest Jones to stay healthy. He's gonna tell himself, why not? Like, all right, you know what? I'm not gonna get the extension from you guys. That's perfectly fine. Or maybe you do want to extend me later in the year. But the point is, this is my final year of my rookie contract. Let me bust my ass, excuse my language, bust my booty until I'm going to work my ass off this entire season, show off to other teams why they should sign me for a really long time for a shit ton of money. Let me ball out. Let me do amazing for the Los Angeles Rams, so maybe the Los Angeles Chargers, for whoever knows, will sign me for more money. That was like, okay, well, that makes a little bit more sense for the Rams. You keep your captain. He has the incentive to play, but he's also made it very well known that he loves this franchise, that he loves his teammates, that he loves captaining this place. Let's also make one thing straight. Aaron Donald, when he retired, and this is something that I feel like everybody needs to hear, and this is very, very key. Aaron Donald told him, hey, we I'm gone, but you're the captain of this squad. You're going to be the future guy. You're the guy now where I was the leader. I'm retiring. I'm good with my career. You're next. You need to take control. This is your defense. Hey, look, I get it. But to me, Aaron Donald's words are like, are quite frankly like words of a god, especially to this Rams franchise. You're talking about, if people are going to argue he's the greatest defensive player of all time. And yet you're going to tell me that and they always listen to Aaron Donald. There's so many situations where they did, and now here we are. Aaron Donald tells Ernest Jones, hey, you're the next guy up. You're going to be the next captain of this defense. I'm out of here. That means a lot. And like at the same time, they traded him away like he was worth nothing. So I'm starting to spiral as to, what could have gone wrong. Now here we are, August 28th, and we're starting to finally get some more words, and people are making predictions like, what? Why would they just get rid of him like that? He has the incentive to play. He's cheaper. Do you really see something in Omar Spades, who we're going to talk about later, the replacement necessarily, but he's just a rookie, so he's not going to start. So what were the questions behind this? And everyone's just worried and freaking out, which is 100% valid. I mean, why would you not be like freaking out about this situation? You gave away honestly a Pro Bowl caliber, not an All Pro, but like a Pro Bowl caliber linebacker, middle linebacker. Did amazing, and it's honestly it's too many questions, and I think we don't want to spend too much time on it, which we already kind of have. But there's only two topics today, and then I think this is really crazy news. But he's gone now. Okay, and then that's the bottom line. It makes you question a lot of things. But what came out today, and then this is where we want to end it. If thank you for following this whole story, is that Ernest Jones supposedly had already said I was actually just anticipating to wait out my contract, just like we were saying. All these NFL analysts, all these different NFL, teams were like, or writers and reporters were like, hey, they could have just waited on his contract. They didn't have to get rid of him for nothing. They could have just held him back, said we're not going to do the extension, but he said he loves his team and he's still going to play hard for the Rams regardless of what happens without an extension. That's what he told reporters today. He said it actually caught him by surprise that he learned, just like as every other NFL fan would on Twitter, that he was traded, and he kind of was just in a bit of a shock. So, Shula, let's need Coach Sean McVay. I honestly think the next press conference, we're going to need answers. Because Sean McVay also went on his press conference and says, well, we never specifically said he wanted a trade. So it was really just the Rams looking for a trade. It's all a bunch of just talk. But what we need to listen to, and I think the most important part, is that in an interview, Ernest Jones said, I never requested a trade. I was shocked by the trade, and I was willing just to play out my final year of the contract here at LA. It's kind of ridiculous. Like the whole story, what went down, and I think everybody is equally angry at Sean McVay and Les Snead. Like, what are we doing, guys? I think it's a big question. It's a little scary. I think every time I talk about the Los Angeles Rams, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see the defense. Ernest Jones is gonna have another great year, and I can't wait to see what money he gets. I automatically assumed he wasn't going to be a Ram next year because we don't pay middle linebackers. We'll pay a defensive lineman, but we won't pay a middle linebacker, and that's fine. But I was excited to see what he could do for his final year. He has a reason to play. He did great for us. He won a Super Bowl with us. That's fine by me. Go get your money somewhere else. It's all about the money. I get it, but at the same time, he said he was willing to play out his final year, and he's great. He's proven himself. Why are we going to take a risk with other linebackers on the team? It's kind of crazy. I mean, this is it's just not something I was really expecting to be discussing just 2 weeks away from the Detroit Lions game. Um, but yeah, it's just heartbreaking. It's really sad. I'm just really confused, and I think the entire LA Rams and St. Louis Rams like fan base are equally confused. But let's move on because we need to get the ball rolling just a bit. But let's talk about the 53-man roster, and this is where we're gonna just kind of end it. We'll talk about some more notes and previews right before we go into the games. But hey, the Rams 53-man roster did come out as well the same day, just hours after Ernest Jones was traded. So it's cool to finally see what happened and see who was selected to stay on the team this year. So we'll go through it fairly quickly. If there's anybody that we really want to shout out, I'll go ahead and give like a 5-minute shout out. Not a 5-minute shout out, like a few second shout out. So quarterbacks, Matthew Stafford and Stetson Bennett. We're gonna start at offense and move our way to defense. So Matthew Stafford, Stetson Bennett, no surprise there. Jimmy Garoppolo, if you know Jimmy G, the quarterback that every mom has a freaking crush on, he is also serving a 2-game suspension due to PEDs, so performance enhancing drugs. He's serving a 2-game suspension, so Stetson Bennett will be the backup to Matthew Stafford for the first 2 games, and then after, most likely Jimmy Garoppolo will be activated, and Stetson Bennett either most likely will make his way down to the practice squad. And we'll explain more on that later. Running backs, Kyron Williams, Blake Corum, and Ronnie Rivers. Kyron Williams, I'm really excited to see what he can do. Like in the last 5 games where he was healthy, he was one of the best backs in the league. Just averaged like per carry, just right under Christian McCaffrey in those 5 games. It was absolutely insane. Like his stat line was amazing. So gonna be excited to see what he does. Blake Corum, I'm surprised we managed to pull through with the Blake Corum pick. He was left over in the 3rd round. He was arguably one of the better running backs in all of college football. People just didn't believe in him because he was in a system where it was run by Jim Harbaugh, a NFL caliber coach. Point is, we get him, and he's supposed to be like that guy. So having a 1-2 punch would be great. And then you have Ronnie Rivers as kind of like the backup running back number 3. That'll be really cool to see. He's also had his moments, but he actually took over for the fact that Boston Scott wasn't going to make it, and Zach Evans is now on the practice squad. So receivers, Cooper Kupp, we knew that. Cool. Puka Nakua. Demarcus Robinson, Tutu Atwell, Tyler Johnson, and Jordan Whittington cracks it through. So that was really, really freaking nice to see that Jordan Whittington, after having 2 amazing games, one against the Chargers, the other one against the Cowboys in game number 1. Uh, it honestly, and I wrote something on it too. It's kind of crazy, but if he could ball out and push himself up that wide receiver room, we might see another kind of Puka Nakua kind of way. I wouldn't say like the same record-breaking season, but still a season that he could be proud of in his rookie year. Tight ends, Colby Parkinson, Hunter Long, and Davis Allen. I don't think it's in that order. I do think Colby Parkinson will be in there for running plays and will be doing a lot of 2 tight ends with Davis Allen and Colby Parkinson. Just depends on who's better in blocking between Long and Allen. But I do think Davis Allen takes it. He's been great last year out of Clemson. I love seeing what he was able to do. So kind of keep your eye on him. Tyler Higbee, it appears that he's going to be out for the rest of the season, so he's not coming back anytime soon. For the offensive line, this is not including 2 guys I believe that are hurt right now. So just one, Alaric Jackson. He's not going to be on the roster right now because he technically is also serving a 2-game suspension due to violating personal conduct policy by the NFL. So, and that's been in-house. Nothing has broken about what he actually did to deserve that 2-game suspension. But now, whatever case is, he's not on the roster for now. So we'll see who gets taken out. But Joe Noteboom, Jonah Jackson, Steve Avila, he's moving back to center. That's going to be really exciting. Kevin Dodson, Rob Havenstein, Warren McClendon Jr., Logan Bruss, Bo Limmer, and Connor McDermott. Most likely once Alaric Jackson comes out, Connor McDermott is going to be out, or McClendon. Just depends between those 2. I do think we keep Bo Limmer. He did great in the preseason, so that's going to be really cool. And now we go to defense. Bobby Brown for the defensive lineman. Here we go. Bobby Brown, Kobe Turner, Braden Fish, Dejuan Johnson, Tyler Davis, like I mentioned earlier, and Corey Durden. Bobby Brown and Kobe Turner will most likely be like the main guys rotating out. They're both to be kind of like nose tackles. Braden Fisk is a defensive tackle, so just keep that in mind. So are Dejuan Johnson, Tyler Davis, and Corey Durden. To be honest with you, I do think Kobe Turner is going to be getting more of the play compared to Bobby Brown. I'm kind of nervous to see how that works. I do think we're doing a 4-3 scheme, so we'll see how that plays out. I know they're really heavy on the nickel, so there's going to be a lot of different things when we'll see that more in the actual season when we were able to witness Chris Shula's defense in his first year as a defensive coordinator, of course. But Kobe Turner, we know what kind of year he had, arguably Defensive Player of the Year. That didn't happen, but still, he was great. And, I mean, no better way to, literally take the torch away from Aaron Donald and have yourself a year like that. Braden Fisk is going to be paired up with Jared Verse, who we'll get into now. These are the outside linebackers: Michael Hoyt, Brian Young, Jared Verse, Nick Hampton, and Brennan Jackson. Michael Hoyt most likely will probably be starting the first week. And I would say Jared Verse comes in like in second and third down, but I think once we get towards the middle of the season, you're really going to see Byron Young and Jared Verse. But who knows? Because there's now no Ernest Jones, so who knows how this whole thing's going to work? Michael Hoyt might be going just a straight outside linebacker or middle linebacker, where I believe he was drafted out of. So Michael Hoyt, Byron Young, Jared Verse, Nick Hampton, Brennan Jackson. Brennan Jackson, the rookie out of Washington State. Supposedly they really liked him. He barely played during the preseason. Inside linebackers, Christian Roseboom, Jake Hummel, Troy Reader, Omar Spates, and Elias Neal. So here's where Ernest Jones could have been. Unfortunately, that's not going to be the case. So Christian Roseboom most likely going to be one of the main guys taking those calls. So really excited to see that. Jake Hummel and Troy Reader. Jake Hummel's been with us since the Super Bowl year as well. Troy Reader actually since way back, I believe 2016. Played one season with us, got traded around, moved around, and now is back with the Los Angeles Rams. So that's cool. Omar Spates and Elias Neal, they're both actually rookies, and Omar Spates is supposed to be the guy that wouldn't necessarily take over the spot because he's not going to be getting as many reps as you would like to see, especially if he's taking over for Ernest Jones. But he is someone to keep your eye on. So Omar Spates, keep an eye out for him. Defensive backs, Tre'Davious White, one of our big free agent signings with Darius Williams, supposed to be really good. Supposedly White's supposed to be good for week 1. He is injured, and Darius Williams, I think maybe week 2. But still, Tre'Davious White, one of the better DBs in all of the NFL. The only thing is that he's been injured recently a lot for the past 2 years. He hasn't played much over like 12 games, I think. So he's been kind of struggling with his age, but anytime he is on the field, he makes a crazy play. So Kobe Durant, Cam Curl, and Cameron Kitchens. So Cam and Cam. Cam Curl, safety. Cam Kitchens, free safety. We love to see him. John Johnson, Quentin Lake, Russ Yeast, Jalen McCullough, Josh Wallace, and Charles Woods. Nothing much to say there, really, besides the fact that Quentin Lake is actually the captain now this year, probably for special teams. So shout out to Quentin Lake. And our punter, Ethan Evans, long snapper, Alex Ward, and Joshua Cartier, kicker out of Stanford, the rookie. Boom. Boom. Oh my God. You saw that? I think that was good. Actually, we got to highlight that. That was a really good, like, 10-minute segment. But yeah, we got through it all. That's really a practice squad. It's just a bunch of guys that got cut. AJR Curry. I want to name out some guys. Tanner Ingle made some good plays. Miller Forrestall, I think he's the one that caught the game-winning touchdown against the Cowboys. Tight end Kalinich is also on the practice squad. McAllister, offensive lineman, is on the practice squad. Xavier Smith and Sam Wiglugs is are also on the practice squad. Excuse me. Jason Taylor II, who also was on the 53-man roster last year, on the practice squad. Zach Evans and Zach Van Valkenburg are also there as well. So those are the main guys. There's a good amount of, there's 17 players who made it to the practice squad, but those are the only guys I really want to shout out that we've seen. If you watch the Rams, that you've seen them get some playing time. But point is, it's been a little crazy like last few days for the Rams with the drama of that, with having to announce captains and now making the 53-man roster and see who's going to get cut. I'm really happy. I mean, this is a team that should be good. I do think, in my only personal opinion, that before we want to end this episode is, like where does Lonzo really think the Rams are going to be in 2024? And to be honest with you, it's such a like a horrible balance scale, because you're gonna have you're gonna have a team that could be one of two teams. Either you're like really horrible and Matthew Stafford gets hurt because he's honestly like a toothpick, and your whole season goes to shit, or Matthew Stafford stays healthy, Kyron Williams stays healthy, your offensive line doesn't have the injuries like it did during practice, and hopefully it got the injuries out of the way, and you end up having a really, really solid offense. And maybe Chris Shula's brand new defense as year one for defensive coordinator of the Los Angeles Rams, he balls out. He has amazing ideas. The defense performs extremely well. It's full of young talent. And it works, and it takes you on a magical run. The other way it could go is that maybe this offense isn't as great as we thought it would be. Maybe the defense is absolutely horrible, maybe a little bit better than last year, which is I mean, not that hard to overachieve. Like last year was horrible, and we have a mediocre season again. So there's not much that we could go along with this. Like everything is pretty hard to see. Like, okay, well, we're hanging on by a shoestring, and that's kind of what I've been telling everybody. Is that at any moment, like we are so wiggly, we are so soft. Any moment we'll fly away. It's not going to work out too well if people start getting hurt. But I do think the most important piece is Matthew Stafford. If he gets hurt, it's over. This season is over if Matthew Stafford gets hurt. We need to make sure he's standing upright the entire time. This offensive line just gets stronger and stronger. The chemistry grows with every single snap. That's the only way that this offense is going to work. And with having Matthew Stafford up there, balling out, it hopefully motivates the guys on defense just to step up their game that much more. But we'll see. Game is in 2 weeks against the Lions. Less than 2 weeks now, really. It's like 10 days. So, really excited. I hope Jimmy G is also a great backup quarterback because usually we've had a history since having Matthew Stafford that he needs to at least have one game of like rest. But we'll see. It's gonna be a great season. We'll have a Chargers one up soon too. But for the meantime, I just wanted to end it there because we did go on a huge rant, and I hope you guys enjoyed the story time. I hope you enjoyed the 53-man roster. Really exciting. Every single department of this team has someone to really look out for, and that's honestly one of the more exciting pieces. You could click any kind of room, the defensive linemen, the DBs. There's a story everywhere, and we're going to be really excited to see who pops out this season. But thank you so much. I mean that's it. That's another episode of Prairie Avenue. We hope to see you again in our next episode, which we're hoping to get up by maybe Friday. So thank you so much. We'll go ahead and see you next time here on Prairie Avenue, brought to you by LR Sports Media.